Okay, so I'm going to try to explain the rule of 18 for guitars. And what this does is that it allows us to know where to place each one of these frets. These frets make the string different lengths, and so the shorter the string, the higher the pitch. But what we have to do is know exactly where to put these on a guitar, and that's we use this rule called the rule of 18. And Pythagoras, a famous mathematician, discovered a long time ago is that if you divide a previous number by 18, you get a very harmonious scale, an octave, right? And so that's what we use in making guitars. So I'm just going to try to show you the longhand method for doing this. So those of you that try today's math assignment will know what to do. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We have a guitar, and um, I want you to calculate the first three frets. Let's see here. First fret, second fret, and third fret. For this example, we're going to use a string that is 600 millimeters long. Okay, so that'd be 60 centimeters. Let me show you what the table looks like here. Okay. Now we are going to have a string, overall string length of 600 meters, or sorry, 600 millimeters. So this is basically the length of the string from the base to the bridge, or the bridge to the neck, right? And so what we're going to do is we're going to take 600 and we're going to divide by 18. And what that's going to do is it's going to let us know what is the distance from the top of the neck to the first fret. So let's get some workspace down here. I'm going to take 600 and I'm going to divide that by 18. Sorry about my handwriting, my screen is kind of wiggly. Okay, so I'm going to divide this by 18. We haven't done too much two-digit divisors this year, but I want to show you how to do this to get it out to the nearest tenth. And then what we're going to do is we're going to round back to the nearest whole number. So what we need to do first is figure out how many groups of 18 are there in 6? Well, there's 0. So how many groups of 18 are there in 60? Okay, so if we take 3 groups of 18, that gives us 54. And now I'm going to subtract 54 from 60, and that gives me a difference of 6. Now what we do is we bring down the next number in line, and that gives us a 0. Now this looks familiar because I need to know how many 18s there are in 60. Well, we just did that, so that is 3. 3 times 18 we know is 54. Some more space here. 54. And guess what? I get a difference of 6. Now, when we run out of numbers to divide by, what we have to do is make a decimal point here and add a 0. Whenever you do that, you don't change the value of that number. All you're doing is extending it past the decimal point. So we're going to bring this 0 down, and guess what? That looks really familiar. We know that 18 goes into 60 3 times. 3 times 18 is 54, and I think you're starting to see a pattern that this is going to be 60 divided by 18, divided by 18, divided by 18, over and over and over, and guess what? We're going to have a 3 that goes on forever, and when that happens, we put a line above it, and that tells us that that decimal goes on and on and on forever. Now what I want you to do is round to the nearest whole number. So we're going to take a look at the tenths place. We're going to see if it's 5 or greater, which it's not. So we'll drop that, and our rounded number will become 3. So actually it's 33, though, to the nearest whole number, and the ones place is 3, so our answer is going to be 33. Quickly erase this. We can go back and work on our table. I know it's kind of a math grind here, but it's good for you. I mean, you need to know how to do this. Okay, so we figured out that the distance between the previous one is going to be 33. Now, in order to figure out this box here, we need to subtract 33 from 600. So when you take 33 away from 600, it gives us 567. So that's the new number that we're going to work with. So we're going to take 567, we're going to divide it by 18. Okay, let's scoot back down. Kind of messy here still. We're going to take 567 and we're going to divide it by 18. All right, so how many 18s are there in 56? Or how many groups of 18 in 56? Well, we knew from before that 3 times 18 was 54, so we're going to try 3, which we know is 54. We're going to subtract 54 from 56, which gives us 2. We're going to bring down the 7. This is pretty easy. 18 and 27. Well, there's only one group of 18 and 27, which gives us 18. We're going to subtract 18 from 27, which gives us 9. Now we ran out of numbers up here in our dividends, so we're going to add a 0, which doesn't change the value, just lets it extend it out, which gives us 90. Okay, well, if you take 5 groups of 18, we take 5 times 8 is 40. Sorry, I'm going off my screen here. Is 40. And then 5 times 1 plus the 4, guess what? That gives us 90. So, sorry, this number comes out nice to 31.5. But since we're going to round to the nearest whole number, we find the tenths. Is it 5 or greater? It is, which means that we're going to drop that 5, in this case, since it's in the decimal place, and we're going to make our 1 into a 2, which gives us 32. So before it was 33 centimeters to the next fret. Guess what? Now it's 32. It's because that number that you're dividing by is smaller. So this number is going to continue to get smaller. And so what do you think that's going to do? That's going to make the fret spacing get smaller and smaller and smaller as you go down the neck, right? So let's erase this mess so we can do our last one. Thank you for sticking with me. Math sometimes, if you're doing it longhand, takes a bit of time. So that was 32. 2. So first it was 33, now it's 32, okay? Now let's do one more fret. If we take 32 away from 567, that's going to be the length from the previous fret, the length of the string, which is going to be 535 millimeters. Now we're going to divide that by 18. Okay, so we're not going to do the 4th fret. I'll change this by the time we have the assignment today. So let's come down here. We're going to divide 535 by 18. Okay, well, we need to figure out how many groups of 18 are there in 53. Well, we know that 18 times 3 was 54, so we're not going to be able to get 3 groups of 18, which means we are going to have 2 groups of 18 in 53, which gives us 36. Well, when we subtract that, 53 minus 36, it gives us 17, which is fine because as long as this number is less than your divisor, it's okay. Now we're going to bring down this 5 and we're left with a big number. 175 divided by 18. Well, I know that 180 divided by 18 is 10, so it must be 9. So I'm going to multiply 9 times 18, which gives me, one second, let me scoot the screen down. That is going to be, so it's 180 minus 18 would give me 1 162, which gives me a difference of 13. I know it's starting to look pretty messy. Stick with me here. Now I'm going to add a 0 up here. I'm going to bring that 0 down. It gives me 130. Now, I'm going to say there are 7 groups of 18 in 130, okay, which gives me 126. Oops, 26, which gives me a difference of 4. But we're going to stop there because we already got out to our tens. Is it 5 or greater? It is, which means we make the 9 become a 10, but that 10 carries over to our tens place, which means that this the space between this one's only going to be 30. And this is now holding true with our thought that this is going to continually get smaller and smaller and smaller. So what you get is a distance of 30 there. And what you can see, and it holds true, is the spacing between each fret gets smaller and smaller and smaller because that number you're dividing by 18 gets smaller every time. So interestingly, by the time you get to the 12th fret, that's exactly half the string. So some interesting math. I hope you try the challenge math in today's assignment, and we will go over the answers in your video. Thank you.